Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the Compassionate, the Merciful. I am grateful to God for giving me the blessing to be here for the 5th conference on Shi'i Studies and to meet you due to very busy time in the community just before month of Ramadan. I didn't have that much opportunity to be here for the whole program, but I have been following up closely the discussions and also in the past abstract, so I'm very happy that there is a growing interest in this conference, and I would like to thank the organizers for all the hard work they did and also for all who contributed. Those of you who were here last year, you may remember I talked about the concept of kitab from a Qur'anic perspective, the book. And this year I would like to talk about the concept of religion or deen from a Qur'anic perspective. And like last year, what I'm sharing is some reflections that developed over years, especially in the context of interfaith discussions and revisiting our resources, and in particular the Quran, to see what is the Quranic understanding of relation between religions. You know, we have inherited a kind of mindset that when we look at religions, we think we are dealing with totally different worlds, as if from beginning, or maybe even from eternity, these religions are separate and God has put them completely distinct from each other, or their founders have made them completely separate from each other. I don't think any religion is formed as a totally new entity. But right now my focus is on Abrahamic religions, so I don't talk about other types of religions, but even for them I don't think they are totally distinct from each other. But when it comes to religions which have their roots in divine revelation, what we find in the resources available across religions is that they were not meant to be different religions. Many times I ask my Christian brothers and sisters when we have discussion, have you ever come across any saying of Jesus when he says, I am founding a new religion? They say no. Have you ever come across any text, any saying that Moses or any prophet says, I am bringing a new religion? Or from Prophet Muhammad, has Prophet Muhammad said, I bring a new religion? No. But we think, oh, these are totally different religions. We read in the books on the history of religions that Jesus is the founder of Christianity, or some people say, you know, some other people are founders of this or that. But we should free ourselves from this counterproductive mentality. Sometimes it goes even further, and people bring the same separation and partitioning even to the denominations. And they think as if this is totally different world. If you are Sunni or Shia, or if you are, you know, Catholic or Protestant or Orthodox, totally new thing, to the extent that sometimes even they don't recognize each other as fellow believers in the same faith. But history doesn't show any evidence for that. But my focus is now on the Quran. As far as the Quran is concerned, I think This is very clear, and I find it very difficult if someone has another reading of the Quran that would suggest that God has sent different religions. Actually, in the Quran, we don't have religions. Never religion is used as a plural in the Quran. Last year, if you remember, I talked about Kitab, the book. And I said that in the Quran, we have two different ways of referring to these divine books or godly or heavenly books. Sometimes we have kutub, sometimes we have kitab. For example, آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون كل آمن بالله وكتبه ورسله. The believers believe in God, His books, and His messengers. لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله. And we don't discriminate against any messenger. So here we have books. Or about Lady Mary, صدقت بكلمات ربها وكتبه وكانت من القانتين. She affirmed all the books from her Lord. But on the other hand, the Quran tells us that what the prophets actually brought was not books, was book. جاءت رسلهم بالبينات والزبر والكتاب المنير. Rasul is plural, Bayyanat is plural, Zubur is plural, Al-Kitab al-Munir is not plural. And this is why you say Ahlul Kitab, we don't say Ahlul Kutub. So last year I said, my conclusion is that we have one book but different editions, not different books. And this makes a big difference. If you say there are different books, even if it is by the same author, even if it's the same author, but if it's different books, it has different impact. And if you say it's the same author, the same title, different editions, it has another impact. Now, about religion. When it comes to religion, it's even more clear. Because God never talks about religions. People may say, okay, it's true that we don't have religions, but we have cases in which God talks about a contrast between two religions. So then we can, by implication, realize that there are religions. For example, in Surah Kafirun, Lakum dinukum waliyadin. So it means that there are two religions. You have your religion, I have my religion. The answer is, first of all, this doesn't mean that there are several or numerous divine religions. That is the religion of pagans. That is religion of idol worshipping. That is shirk. It's not Judaism or Christianity or Islam or religion of previous prophets. So that is one point. The second point is that actually that is a pseudo-religion. Because what is religion? One way of looking at religion is what people worship, what people, revere. Okay, we can say idol worshippers and pagans, and in particular we are talking about pagans of Mecca. We can say they are also idol worshippers, they have religion. Today people say that even football is a religion. Okay? But if you look at religion more carefully, and if you consider the concept of worship more carefully, then you cannot call what the pagans used to do a religion. Because they used to just serve their own ego. They gave the name of religion so that they give legitimacy to their own hedonistic life. It was not really religion, because religion means that you believe in something higher than you. That you have to adapt yourself to that, not that you make everything else adapt to your desire. So that is not a true religion. So, in the Quran, God talks to us about one religion. And that is religion of all the prophets and messengers. One God, one humanity, one religion, one book. In the course of history, we have given different names when we faced with differences. My understanding is that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't want to accept this culture of giving name to this old historical call towards God. He refused to give a new name. We think Islam is a new religion and Prophet gave this name to him, but indeed Prophet wanted everyone to use what name this orientation was always associated with. What was Ibrahim calling this kind of affiliation? What was Jacob and Isaac were calling? What Noah was calling? Islam is not a new religion and a new name. Islam is actually refusing to give a new name, and instead inviting everyone to go back to the reality and don't fight that much about names. إن الذين هادوا والذين والنصارى إن الذين آمنوا والذين هادوا والنصارى والصابئين. This is names. The beginning of ayah talks about names. But then it says, من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر وعمل صالح. Okay, you can call yourself Jew or Christian or Sabbathite or Muslims. But tell me, who has faith? Who does righteous deeds? Forget your names. On the day of judgment, you are not going to solve the problems by introducing the name of your club. So I belong to this club. Religion is not a club. It is your reality that can help you. Whoever has faith in God and the hereafter and does righteous deeds, فَلَهُمْ أَجْرُهُمْ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ. They have their own reward. So when the Quran says, مَنْ يَبْتَغِ غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ. Whoever accepts any religion other than Islam would not be accepted and he would be loser. When you put it next to this ayah, it shows very clearly that Islam here is not Islam in contrast to Christianity or Judaism. This ayah is not saying that every person called Muslim would have salvation and any person who is not called Muslim has no salvation. No. Whoever is in reality a Muslim. Maybe by name today we don't call him Muslim, but he is a person who surrenders himself to God. He has salvation. He can be Sunni, he can be Shia, he can be Christian, he can be Jew, he can be Sabbathite. Maybe there are other forms. Just to be faithful and do righteous deeds. Of course, the one who is faithful is always searching for the truth, is always looking for better understanding of the will of God. I cannot say I am faithful to God, but I don't want to inquire. I don't want to listen to new words. I don't want to say if there is any better presentation of the truth. No. A faithful person is not comfortable unless he makes sure that has the best available resources in his study. So, religion is, according to the Quran, only one. And not, when I say one, I mean Islam in its narrower sense. It means the path of all the prophets, which was to call people towards God. If you call yourself a believer, you must be opening yourself to God. You must let God's light to come to your heart. أَفَمَنْ شَرَحَ اللَّهُ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ فَهُوَ عَلَى نُورٍ مِّن رَبِّهِ فَوَيْلٌ لِلْقَاسِيَةِ قُلُوبُهُم مِّن ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. Everything is summarized in this verse. Either you open your heart and let the light of God comes, or you are a person who is stubborn or resistant against the truth, and you say, I am fine. I don't want anything more. I have already what I have. So, in the Quran, there are some other verses that I would like to also mention. And I hope this discussion would pave the way for more mutual respect, recognition, and collaboration between different denominations of religions, but also between people of faith from different traditions. One verse which is very dear to me is this verse about Prophet Abraham. And you know, Abraham is very important figure for all Abrahamic, religions. And the more I know about this man, the more humble I become. This is a person that needs more and more scholarly work by all Muslims, Christians, and Jews. I think we have not done justice to Abraham. Abraham is very, very important figure. God says, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ دِينًا مِمَّنْ أَسْلَمَ وَجْهَهُ لِلَّهِ وَهُوَ مُحْسِنٌ وَاتَّبَعَ مِلَّةَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ حَنِيفًا وَاتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ إِبْرَاهِيمَ خَلِيلًا. Who is better in faith than someone who submits his face to God? So faith is submission to God. If someone is better, it's because he has submitted himself more. وَهُوَ مُحْسِنٌ. You cannot submit your face to God and do bad things. You cannot submit your face to God and even stop doing good things. You must do ihsan. I cannot understand how a person can be religious and instead of helping people to overcome problems, they can cause divisions, fights, separation, killing, exploding, and so on and so forth. Can we call this ihsan? Are you doing ihsan? To whom you are doing ihsan? Yes, you are doing ihsan to enemies of humanity. You are not doing ihsan to any human being. وَاتَّبَعَ مِلَّةَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ حَنِيفًا. He submits his face to God, does kind actions, and follows the tradition of Abraham. Look at this. The Quran says Prophet Muhammad is a follower of Abraham. Jesus was a follower of Abraham. Moses was a follower of Abraham. If Prophet Muhammad was thinking of, leave aside every other thing has been said so far, I have a new religion, you must either believe in this or you go to hell, then should not have been given this verse, which says even his honor is to follow the path of Abraham. And when it comes to Abraham, he was a follower of Noah. إِنَّ مِنْ شِيعَتِهِ لَإِبْرَاهِيمَ. It's not a matter of person. These are signposts. The only end is God. The only destination is God. Everyone else, at best, is a signpost. We fight over these signposts and forget God. So, we have to follow Abraham. And that is by submitting or surrendering ourselves to God. وَاتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ إِبْرَاهِيمَ خَلِيلًا. And God chose Abraham as his friend, which is a common theme in all Abrahamic religions. Another verse, which I think is very important and is very much misunderstood, is this verse, that we have it actually in two similar forms. هو الذي أرسل رسوله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون. Some people, they say this verse means Islam has come, Islam in the narrow sense, and is going to defeat all other religions, and there would be only Islam and no other religions. Everyone would be only Muslims in the narrow sense. I said that cannot be understood from this. What this verse is saying, if you read carefully, is something else. He is the one who sent his messenger with guidance and religion of the truth, not the true religion. Big difference. Religion of the truth. Submit yourself to the truth. What is opposite to Dinul Haq? Dinul Batil. Religion of falsehood. Lakum dinukum waliyad. We have either to submit ourselves to the truth, or we go after falsehood. What is going to be achieved, I'm talking about this verse, is that religion of the truth would prevail. And therefore says, وَلَوْ كَرَهَ الْمُشْرِكُونَ, doesn't say وَلَوْ كَرَهَ النَّصَارَى وَالْيَهُودِ. Even if the pagans and polytheists are not going to be happy. Mentality at the time of revelation was not like our mentality. You know, a very interesting case is about chapter Romans. When the Romans who were Christians were defeated by Persians, Muslims felt unhappy. غلبت الروم في أدنى الأرض وهم من بعد غلبهم سيغلبون في بضع سنين. Then Allah informed them that the Romans are going to win over in few years. And that is when believers become happy. So Muslims were happy to know that Christians are going to win over. It was not this mentality that either you are with us or it doesn't make any difference what you are. It was not like this. And there are some other verses, but I would like to just end with one point. And that is about the sacredness of places of worship. This is also a dimension of this discussion. When you look at the Quran, you find not only mosques, but churches and synagogues and monasteries are taken as sacred places that should be protected. And even God is protecting them. In Surah Hajj, verse 40. لولا دفع الله الناس بعضهم ببعض لهدمت صوامع وبيع وصلوات ومساجد يذكر فيها اسم الله كثيرا. Had it not been that God uses some people to defend and keep away some other people, churches and synagogues and monasteries and mosques would have been destroyed. يذكر فيها اسم الله. These are places that God is remembered in them. They must be protected. How can a Muslim think that church is not a sacred place or synagogue is not a sacred place? Or how can a Christian think that mosque is not a sacred place? It's impossible. If you really believe in God, if you really love God, you love God to be remembered. If it cannot be remembered in the way that you like it, then you should not say it has no value. Maybe they don't pray to God in my language or in my tradition, but they pray to God. This is very important. Allama Tabatabai rahmatullah alayh in Al-Mizan about this verse says something very important which relates also to our discussion. He says, إنما اختص انهدام المعابد بالذكر. After he talks about the meaning of sawami', biya', salawat. Sawami' means monasteries, biya' means places of worship for Jews and Christians, but salawat is for Jews. So two is for Jews. One common with Christians, one is specifically, and then masajid. So Allama explains the meaning, and then he says, إنما اختص انهدام المعابد بالذكر. Why God specifically talked about this? Because daf'ullah الناس بعضهم ببعض is more general. It's not only about places of worship, but why a special emphasis has been put on the places of worship? He says, لأن هذه المعابد والمعاهد هي الشعائر والأعلام الدالة على الدين. Because these are signs, these are manifestations that indicate and call people towards religion. Al-mudhakkirati lah. These are things that remind people of God. When people go to church, they don't do business, they pray to God. When they go to synagogue, when they go to mosque, they pray to God. So this is a place of remembrance of God. Al-hafidhati li-suratihi fil-adhan. These places help us to keep an image of religion and God in our mind. These are sacred places, and it's responsibility of all humanity, at least believers, to protect these places, to appreciate these places. If you are a lover of God and you pass by a place of worship, you should feel excited that I am passing by a place that people have been worshiping God in this place. I hope God the Almighty would help us in this generation to understand religion as He designed it and as He sent it to His prophets, and to understand that true religion cannot bring other than love, respect, peace, solidarity, collaboration. Thank you very much. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillah rabbil alamin.